So for all of you crafty people out there, whether you're makers like soap or candles or painting or knitting or whatever, have you ever had an idea and went, I wonder if I can do thus? And then you realize that by trying to do thus, you may end up ultimately wasting a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of products, and potentially break things. You've come to the right channel, my friends. Because this is exactly, what we do on a regular basis really is show you all of the weird things that, really pop into my mind. And I wonder if this works. But we're doing it in pretty big and ridiculous ways today. And I'm going to tell you what all of those big and ridiculous ways are in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's break stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You're at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And it's day 312 of 365 days of soap, and we are starting Amy Warden's Impression Mat Challenge. Now, impression mat challenges in and of themselves, they're not super complicated, making an impression mat. And so I decided to make it super complicated, because I decided that what I wanted to do was make the cardigan in soap form. But here's the thing. My actual inspiration came from a beautiful loaf of soap that was posted on one of the soap pages a few months ago from a company that is called Fearfully Wonderfully Handmade. And she had done all of this soap dough around it and piping and the extruders and everything to have this knitted loaf of soap on all sides. And it was stunning. And I loved that. But I'm not doing a soap dough challenge. 1, I would never attempt to copy her work because it's extraordinary. 2, but also I wanted to see what we could do with the impression mats and see if we could push the limits of what it will actually accept and do and make a crumpled up cardigan. Like when you take this off and throw it on the ground, how it's crumply and not fully like a soap, right? So that was the thought process with that, because when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, it's all a thing. And also this gave me the opportunity to make another Taylor Swift bar. So there's also that. But also the way that I went about making my impression mat and the things that I used with which to do it, we should just go to the video and watch all the things, because it really is a whole ass thing. Okay, so the impression mat challenge, my inspiration came from this. Now, this is a company called Fearfully Wonderfully Handmade that made this ridiculous knitted sweater soap, right? And I love that. And she actually did that using all soap dough which is crazy. And I'm not doing a soap dough challenge. I'm doing an impression mat challenge. You should definitely go check her out. I have the information for her socials in the description box below. Go see her, support her. That soap is gorgeous. And it took her a really long time to do it, I guess, from the comments that she put on one of the Facebook soap pages. It was a lot. Now, I have an impression mat that I want to do though. And so I took this in a couple different ways because, I mean, I want to make the cardigan, you guys, the Taylor Swift cardigan. But what I wanted to do with it was make it look like a crumpled up cardigan, right? And when I felt like I was an old cardigan under someone's bed, yeah. And so I decided to make an impression mat that goes all the way around the whole mold. So lay it in the inside and it goes side, bottom, and side, right? And so it will be a weirdly shaped bar when it's all said and done, because I'm not doing 3 individual mats. I'm doing just one big mat that will not go in the mold very easily, I'm guessing, and will therefore create like a crumpled effect in the soap itself. Like the bar itself will look like a crumpled cardigan. And so I am preparing my clay using a scarf that the Soapprentice made Soap and Clay Kidlet #2 for Christmas. And it's a gorgeous scarf, and like I was really freaked out actually doing this process. So the clay itself has 2 layers of saran wrap on it in order to protect the scarf, and the rolling pin was cleaned off like 12 million times in order to protect the scarf. And this whole entire time I'm going, this was a bad idea. What if and also Soap and Clay Kidlet #2 is watching me going, what are you doing to my scarf? And I'm like, I hope nothing. I hope nothing. I hope I'm not ruining this priceless gift that Georgia May made with her own 2 hands out of all of the love that she has for, you know, the Soap and Clay Kidlets. So yeah, I was kind of nervous about this whole process, really. And but everything went fine and the scarf was good. Just so you know, there was no, the scarf is perfect. It's great. And I'm just rolling it into the clay, kind of like another Amy Warden soap challenge, the plant relief, right? And this chick was rolling all kinds of crazy things into clay and then making her, you know, little impressions and all the things. And I went, well, I can do that. I've got clay. And so I'm sort of combining an impression mat challenge with the plant relief challenge and going from there. Now I'm going to block off this area around this slab and then pour in my silicone. And I also took just a little clay tool and made some more dents and divots and all of the things, because I wasn't super happy with the pattern that I got from just rolling the knitted scarf into, you know, the clay. And so I'm just gonna do the silicone thing and pour that all out and let that dry overnight, and then I will have an impression mat ready to go for the actual pour. So, you know, I ran out of silicone here, so I had to make more, but you know, I'll show you the finished product in the next slide. I did make more silicone, and that was not the end of it right there. I promise. You get to see it all in just like 3 seconds. So let's go there. Okay, now on to the pour of this guy. Now, the oil blend that we're using is my basic 3, so equal parts olive oil, coconut oil, and palm. Got the kaolin clay, and today we are testing Burberry Brit Dupe from Lone Star. Again, no information about any soaping notes, but category 9, which is what we are for soap, is 8.3%. So good to go, because I don't soap at 8.3%. That is not how much fragrance I ever put in anything. Now, I also used an extruder. I had talked about a video that I had, in an earlier video, I talked about a soap that I'd seen from I Dream and Soap that had these cute little snowflakes inside. And I, you know, queried in the video that when I talked about it, I wondered what she had done to make the little snowflakes. And somebody told me she used an extruder. And I went, okay, for the cardigan bar, because it's Taylor Swift, it's cardigan, I will do the thing. And so I got an extruder. I made some stars that are like silver, because those are the stars that are on the cardigan. And that's the silicone mat in there and all the things. And yeah, so I made the stars. And also the funny thing with all of this was I wanted to make sure that I got the colors right for the buttons, as well as the, you know, the line that's on the cardigan, as well as the stars themselves. And so if you see that on my arms, I am wearing my cardigan right now while making soap. Like I am soaping in my Taylor Swift cardigan. I am doing that. Like, what? Which is cuckoo bananas, because like my cardigan is one of my most prized possessions, right? And normally when I'm making soap, I'm soaping in old, you know, dirty hoodies and, you know, all of the things. Like I'm not using my real clothes while I'm making soap because I don't want to get oil and stuff on them or whatever. And so yeah, like as I am placing these little stars inside of the whatever, I am like literally kicking myself, like, you're going to ruin your cardigan. But then I was like, but you're soaping in your cardigan. Like standing in my cardigan, soaping in my cardigan. Come on, that was, I don't know, I thought that was cute. Like I got a kick out of it at that point, but yeah, still big concern because I didn't want to ruin my cardigan. And so that was on my mind as I was trying to make this really weird soap that was born from so many weird things. You know, we're breaking all of the things and trying all of the things and experimenting, which is so much fun in the soap making world, right? Like just experimenting. And you know, one of those things wherein I wonder if this will work. I wonder if I can use a scarf to, you know, make an impression mat. I wonder if I can make a soap look crazy, weird, and crumpled like a crumpled up cardigan. Like I wonder. And you know, so that's what we're doing. I'm not wondering anymore, I'm testing, I'm experimenting, and I'm playing. Now this mat unfortunately was not actually long enough to go around the top, but also I didn't really want it to go around the top because I knew that I was going to be putting the stripes for the cardigan, the stripe down it, as well as some buttons because the cardigan. And yeah, so I just used a fork to create some texture and do the things, and now I'm just gonna put I made that out of soap dough, just put the little guy there, and then all of the buttons spaced however I can figure it out to put them on. And yeah, so there's 3 stars in the do you see my little ruler? One of my sudsers sent me a whole bunch of rulers, and so they've actually come into super handy. But the actual packaging that she sent through with it says on there, for Mrs. Soap and Clay only, don't touch, which I love. Like, they're my rulers, and they're very, very handy. She also sent me some delightful incense, which smells so good. She makes incense. It was such a nice gift to get, for sure. And yeah, so I got rulers to sort of determine if I had made the buttons too big with the soap dough, and I hadn't. But you know, it's always, I should have done marking off my mold and doing all the whatever, but I didn't do that. I didn't do that. So we're just going to put them in places that sort of make sense and hope that I don't cut through too terribly many of these in the cut. But yeah, no, this is such a weird, funky, crazy way of making soap. Definitely something that I've never done before. I've done a lot of impression mats before, but I've never done it like this. And so, I don't know, thought that would be fun to play with this. And I'm actually really excited / terrified of cutting into this one, really. Like, will I have 3 stars, or, you know, in each bar? How weird is the outside going to look, all crumpled up and crazy? Am I going to cut through all, am I going to ruin the cardigan? And again, like, if I wanted to make a perfect cardigan, I wouldn't actually make it. I would just go buy it from Fearfully Wonderfully Handmade, because she did a gorgeous knitted sweater soap. Like, that thing is beautiful. So 3 sides of that completely knitted cable sweater look, and it's gorgeous. I would never attempt to actually duplicate or mimic something that she did so expertly and so beautifully. It needs to stand on its own. And yeah, so buy one from her, but also I want to see if I can make a weird one. And so that's what we're doing. And yeah, this is ready for CPOP and gel and all of the things after I finish putting down some blue mica on the band. So we have a nice blue for the band. And we will cut into this and see what kind of weirdness we have going on with the whole cardigan thing, you know, right now. You don't have to wait. I had to wait, but you don't. So let's go check that out. Okay, it is cut day, and the silicone mat came out without any problems whatsoever, and that looks so weird. Oh God. Now, the one thing that I would say about if you're going to make impression mats out of clay, I would say make sure that you really clean off your impression mats. You can see there's a little bit of clay transfer onto these white bars. Not so much that anybody's really going to notice, but I noticed, and so that, you know, bothers me. And that was the impression mat when it was all done, and it's super weird, and this bar is super weird. But yeah, make sure your clay gets cleaned off. I mean, this is cosmetic clay and I make clay soap, so it's not a big deal that clay ended up transferred onto the outside of the bar, but again, making an all white soap, that's whatever, but that's funky. Isn't that crazy? That's so weird. Like, it does. It looks like a crumpled up cardigan, a crumpled up sweater, just all not uniform, not straight, precise lines. That's totally wild looking. And let's see what we came up with inside for these stars, and if those little extruder bits worked in there. And oh my, go back, put it back on the thing. I want to see. They totally worked. Oh God. Oh, that one only has 2. But when you use it, it'll show up again. That is just the weirdest thing. I have never, I'm totally getting a kick at how crazy this looks. Like 3 stars, looks like a crumpled up sweater. It has the button and the little line on top. And I'm cutting soaps actually in another Taylor Swift sweatshirt. So that's fun. I guess this week was just the week of weird decisions for me and what I decided to wear to the soap shop. And yeah, this is, wow, that is so cute and weird. So there's one way to use impression mats, I guess. Like, that's a thing. I mean, I've shown you like the standard way to use impression mats, I suppose, is, you know, you put it at the top or the bottom of your soap or both, and you know, it creates the cool pattern or whatever. And if you wanted this to be completely straight and not all oddly shaped, like oddly shaped soaps, you could totally just create 3 individual mats and then essentially use like a sticky a temporary glue, like those 3M just sprays or whatever, to stick them to the side of your mold so it'll stay during the pouring of the other soap, or, you know, just kind of hold them and then pour in. And then you'll actually get closer to what Fearfully Wonderfully Handmade's beautiful soap is without having to use soap dough. That's definitely an option if you wanted like the really precise, this looks like a rectangular bar of soap. But I really wasn't going for that. I was going for chaos, and I wanted to like push the limits of what you could do with all of the with silicone mats, really, and making your own impression mat. And so that's super fun. And these are they're ridiculous. The Burberry Brit, actually, it's very good. I'm not seeing any discoloration or any problems in the using of that scent blend, and it's a very good dupe as far as Burberry Brit goes. My husband actually wears Burberry Brit once in a while, and one of my favorite colognes, and so yeah, it worked out really well for sure, and it smells really nice after saponification, so no problems with that. And no acceleration, no weirdness that I could tell, and obviously no discoloration because we still have a white bar soap, so, and there's no real signs of it already discoloring on the edges, which is usually where you would see that. So that one is good, and these bars are ridiculous, and it's cool. That's the weirdest thing that I think I've ever done with an impression mat. But you know, there is my impression mat challenge for Amy Warden's soap challenge revisit thing for my cardigan, really. And yeah, there's that. That is day 312. Could be the weirdest thing that I have put on the channel to date. Like, can you think of any soap weirder than this? I can't, but I weirdly am in love with this, like, completely. I think they're so ridiculous and perfect. Oh my God, those soaps are just, wow, they are so, but they're actually really cool to hold in the hand. I found that in the shower because it has like extra knots and whatever. It's easier to hold on to. They are something else. Like the whole process was just wild. So, if you ever wondered if you could, yeah, you can. If you wanted perfectly rectangular bars though, I really would recommend making a silicone mold for the bottom and ones for each side, and then using like temporary adhesive to stick them to either side of the mold. So you can do that. That totally works too. But again, I wanted a crumpled up cardigan under someone's bed, and that's what I got. And it was wild and a lot of fun and very cool. And the Burberry Brit scent is delightful. Mr. Soap and Clay, he wears the Burberry Brit every once in a while, and so this one was very spot on. No discoloration problems, no separation, no ricing, no seizing, no problems with any of that. So Lone Star did great with that. Yes. If you are interested in this soap, you can purchase it tomorrow after Georgia May does her impression matte soap at soapandclay.com. If you're interested in seeing what the Soapprentice does for her impression matte, because she's not doing a cardigan, she's going to come up with her own thing, obviously, you should subscribe and come back and check out what she does. For those of you who are subscribed, hey, Sudzer, thanks for coming to see what I did for the impression matte, and come back tomorrow and see what the Soapprentice does for hers. I'm out of here for today. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did with this one, because it was definitely a ton of weird fun. I appreciate you joining me for another round of 365 days of soap. I will see you guys all again tomorrow. Bye.